Hello and welcome to episode 82 of the It's Just a Hill Cycling Podcast. I am John, and today I am back with my dad, also John. Hi, Dad.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you? Thanks for coming. Thanks for doing this. You want to show off your t-shirt again? All right, so we're going to do a little bit of a trends conversation. I think cycling has like the memory of a goldfish where no strips are back, oval chain rings were back. But before we get into that, before we talk about that sort of stuff, we're going to talk about your monster year. You had a monster year on the bike last year, I think. 2025, you rode how many miles? 11,000 miles?
11,000 even.
11,000 on the absolute dot. Is that correct?
I planned it that way.
And the last ride was how long to get there?
62.7.
62.7. All right. So 2025, I mean, that's a big year. I think that's a big year for just about anyone. And we talked about it, I think, a little bit last time you were on the show. But in 2024, you had a huge injury, right? Like pretty bad, pretty devastating, I think. And to come back from that is fucking insane. So kudos to you, real life kudos to you for doing that. That's huge. What made you want to go for such a big mileage goal in last year? Like why 11,000 miles? What was the plan going into the year and how did it all come about?
Well, my plan was for 10,000. On Strava, I put a goal. My goal was 10,000.
Yeah.
As you know, I injured my knee in April. That's why I didn't complete the Washington, D.C. trip.
Oh, right. Right.
So I lost a month there.
Yeah.
And a couple of my buddies down here were also shooting for 10,000.
Yeah.
And I came up to Rhode Island for about 6 to 8 weeks during the summer. Didn't ride a ton.
Yep.
So when I got back to Florida, I was about 800 miles behind one guy and about 1,100 miles behind another guy. And
Yep.
that was in late September.
Right. Right.
So I just said to myself, I think I was only at about 6,000 miles, maybe 6,500 the beginning of October. So I did 1,400 miles in October, 1,200 in November, and another 1,300 in December to get to that. And then when I got to 10,000,
right,
I said, hey,
keep going, keep pushing.
I might as well do 11.
And your other buddies, they hit big goals too, right? Jay hit like 11,111, right? It sounds weird to say out loud.
11,111.1.
0.1, right.
Yeah. And I stopped riding Christmas Eve. Well, December 23rd was my last ride.
Right.
Because I was coming to Rhode Island. I knew Jay would get ahead of me.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a competition. It's nice, like friendly that you were all trying to like hit the same sort of metrics, which is nice.
Correct. And myself, Nigel, and Jay all hit our goals. Nigel
was what, 10,000 as well?
Yep. I think he was just over 10,000. I don't know the exact number.
Nice. And you ride with those guys a lot, right? Like I know you do group rides a lot. Did you ride with both of them this morning?
I did not. I rode with Mom this morning.
Oh, right. You rode with Mom and another couple. Right.
Yep.
How was that ride?
Fantastic. Beautiful conditions, 64 degrees at the start. Probably
cold for you.
74 at the end. Stopped for coffee and pastry. And
And yesterday, a little bit of gravel.
Yeah, gravel was nice yesterday. Actually, single track on the gravel. I saw
that clip. And you're riding a Diverge, right? Specialized Diverge.
Yep.
We can bleep out Specialized. How often do you ride that bike?
That is only the second time I've been on the gravel bike since I had my injury. I'm sort of
I get it.
I don't want to go down and smash into a tree or anything. So But yesterday we had a guy by the name of Sverre, a Norwegian man, that knows the Carlton Preserve or Reserve like the back of his hand. So he gave us like a guided tour.
Yeah, it looked awesome. That single track video that you posted looked really cool. Just seems, absolutely no cars in there. Is that right?
No, none. It was the single track. We actually did single track for 12 miles.
Yeah.
And then we got off the single track and went on a gravel road for about, I think we finished up with about 25 miles.
Yeah.
So another 12 miles. We saw alligators, we saw deer.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild out there.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. You're already at like 370 miles for the year or some shit.
Yes, I'd like to match last year's total, if not more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. Is that the goal, 11,000?
I only have 10,000 as my goal, so if I reach
Yeah.
that, I'll be happy, but anything above that will be gravy.
And that's something that you put into Strava, right? So it'll tell you like how far ahead or how far behind you are, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm doing a similar thing. I'm trying to do 12,000 this year. And it's like, from the beginning of the year, it's tough here in January to like get the miles in necessarily. So it's like after today's ride, it's like you're 40 miles behind. But for me, that feels pretty good. And I like that it does that. It really sort of keeps you in check. Do you have weekly goals too, or do you just have the yearly goal?
I like to get 250 miles a week.
Yeah. And then you look at mileage as opposed to time when you're looking at goals like a weekly thing?
Yeah. I'm old. I don't ride for speed. If I'm in a group, I
Sure.
can go a lot faster, but
Sure.
if I ride solo, I'm averaging 17, 18 miles an hour. If I ride with mom,
Yeah.
17 miles an hour in a group,
Right.
you can average 20. We have some
Yeah.
great groups down here.
And the injury was the big injury, not the knee injury, but when you were, in the hospital and stuff. That was almost 2 years ago
It'll be 2 years, February
in
9th.
February. Yeah. So and today we're recording this on January 9th.
Yep.
How are you feeling? Not to dwell on that too much, but do you feel like, do you feel any residual from that? Do you feel like you hold the bike any differently? You sit on the bike differently, or is that like in the distant past at this point?
I would say I'm about 99%
Yeah.
feeling wise. I mean, my left shoulder is still bothers me, being on the bars for a long time.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if my lung capacity is fully back because I punctured both
Yeah.
lungs,
Yeah.
but I sit in well.
Yeah. I mean, hey, well, I mean, we're all getting older. You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to be the same whippersnapper you were when you were 40, And so it's like, I mean, hey, I honestly can't believe it. Like 11,000 miles is a lot. I did like 8,500 or something. And last year, and granted, we sort of have different schedules. You are retired. I probably had the busiest year I've had work wise, like since before COVID last year. So I'm not complaining, but like 11,000 miles. I think that's unbelievable. I really do.
Well, thank you. It is,
Yeah.
it's different riding down here, as you know, it's
Sure.
flat.
Yeah, you can go a little bit faster, a little bit further in the same amount of time, but that's not to knock. You know what I mean? You can go further in the same amount of time as you would be able to around here because it's flatter, but I don't think that takes away from the
No,
mileage or the time
I
on the bike.
actually think,
Do you know how many hours you had
um,
last year? Is that an easy thing to see on someone else's?
900 maybe?
900? Yeah. Okay.
945, if I remember. I don't remember exactly. That could be way off.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's pretty awesome. What about like mentally? You still love riding your bike as much as you did 5, 10 years ago?
I love it more. Some days wake up, I wake up early every day and I usually have an hour or 2 hours before I have to meet people.
Yep.
And sometimes, as you have stated before, there's a sense of dread. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I gotta ride again today.
Yeah.
And I get maybe a little anxiety in my stomach. And then
Mhm.
once I get out there, boom, everything's gone.
Right. Right.
Like
I mean,
it's great to be out there. I love the wind in my face. I like to ride the bike.
yeah, and I mean, you said you're not really like going for speed. You're not really like going out and, trying to, hit a certain watts for a certain amount of time. But like, how do you manage? Because I think you probably ride at least 5 days a week, if not 7 days a week. Do those rides that you mix in with mom, not like we're not trying to like make fun of mom, but she just doesn't ride as fast. She doesn't really care about it as much as we do. But like, do you treat those as recovery rides? Do you treat, you know what I mean? Are you treating different rides as different for different pacing so that you can be more consistent? Because you can't ride hard every day. You know what I mean?
Monday and Friday are mom rides.
Yep. Nice.
Because I usually do a long ride on Saturday and a harder ride on Sunday. So I get a
Yep.
rest on Friday and then a rest on Monday. But we basically have a schedule down here with the guys.
Right.
We have a lot of coffee rides. Like, we're old people, so we like to stop for coffee towards the end of the ride.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm old too because I love that. And right, because you're going to different shops. Like Wednesday, you're doing black gold or whatever, right? And then
No.
Sorry.
Tuesday's
Let's
black
run
gold.
through it. Tuesday's black gold.
Wednesday's rendezvous.
Yep. Thursday,
it depends.
switch it up.
Usually K&K Bakery. And
All right, but yesterday was Thursday, and you did the gravel ride. Did you get coffee with that one or no? I was just kind of you drove to the ride.
We had a guy, the Norwegian guy Sverre. He
Yeah.
brought, for the end of the ride, he breaks a cooler out of his car.
Yeah.
And there's a picnic table at the end. He brought 3 non-alcoholic Genesee beers, about
nice.
20 chocolate chip cookies, and a jar of pickles.
Wow, what a combo that is.
The guy's unbelievable.
That's very nice. That's very nice. I feel like those 3 things don't really go together.
I'll tell you, the pickles and the chocolate chip cookies were like salt and sweet.
Sure. Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah. And then Saturday, Sunday, are those like, are those organized through bike shops, or like any of those rides organized through local bike shops, or they're all just kind of like a crew getting together?
A crew getting together. We do, like on New Year's Day, we did a ride from the bike shop.
Right.
But Jay Ustruck usually sends out a text just about every night saying, he gives the weather conditions, what we're doing, where we're going, and sends everybody the route.
Right.
We'd never have less than 4 or 5 guys, and Sunday we had 20.
Yeah, dang, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what do you have any other events lined up for this year? Like, are you signed up for anything in the next couple of months or whatever?
January 26th, I'm doing Piggy's Revenge.
Right. You've done this one before, right?
Yep, did it last year. That was the only other time I was on the gravel bike since my accident.
Oh, okay, because that is a gravel ride, right? It's on like dirt roads.
Piggy's, you can do 20 gravel, 40 gravel, 60 gravel, or 20 mountain bike, 40 mountain bike.
Yeah.
And one of them, I think the 60 mountain bike is an actual race.
Yep.
But it's put on by Sarasota County off-road riders.
Okay.
And for the non-race ride, they have a band set up out in the middle of nowhere, like in the jungle.
Oh, right. You just like come across them, right?
We come across them. We do a couple of loops. We come across them a couple of times. They have a brewery brings a couple of kegs of beer. They have
That's awesome.
It's insane. And it's a party.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Actually, we should talk, but I don't want to spoil some events that I may or may not be involved with, but I would like to talk to you about that a little bit more off the podcast, because in addition to Sloppy John's, there's this little teaser for something else that might be happening this year. And it sort of seems similar to that with what we're thinking of. So remind me to talk to you about that later, not to go off on too much of a tangent. Anything else after January that you're signed up for event wise?
I am signed up for a ride I didn't really want to do, but a friend of mine, Mitch, has done an MS ride for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I just signed up for that this morning, actually. It's a 100-mile ride up in Sarasota.
Yeah.
It's the name of he formed us a team called the Cycling Blue Herons because that's his favorite bird.
That's a good favorite bird, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite bird?
I would say a bald eagle.
Okay. All right.
We got a lot of them down here.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Are you sort of approaching this year the same way that you approached last year? You know what I mean? Just like grinding away, getting in the miles, looking to see how far ahead, how, you know what I mean? Is there any sort of like different approach to 2026 as there was 2025, or did you feel pretty successful in the way that you did it? And so you're kind of just, sticking with it.
Well, I won't have to ride as much towards the end of the year, I hope. I hope I can consistently do 250 a week if I do 50 weeks at 250 a week, I'm ending up with, if I do 200 a week, I'm ending up with 10,400.
Right.
So
Right.
if
So
I
if you add those other
50,
50, that's another 250. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 2,500. Yeah.
So my biggest year down here, I did 14,000 one year.
Damn.
Yeah.
14,000. That's crazy. Is that
But
common? Is that common for people down there? I mean, that's not common for any cyclist, I don't think. I think that's pretty elite in terms of time on the bike and hours, you know what I mean? Like in mileage.
I don't know if you remember Steve Taylor
Yes.
from Rhode Island. He's done your Sloppy Johns one year.
Yes, I definitely remember him. I remember the first time I met him with you at the gas station in Richmond.
This year, Steve Taylor rode 22,000 miles.
22,000 miles. What the hell? That's almost 2,000 a month.
500-mile weeks, week after week.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And quick. He rides with a group out of Naples, which is about, I'd say, an hour and a half, 2 hours south of me.
Yep.
So he's got a group called the Naples Velo Club that rides every day, and he's retired like me. So
yeah,
I ride with Gulf Coast Velo and Bicycles International.
Yep.
Just our regular group.
And he's down there full time now, right? Down in Florida.
He's down here full time.
Yeah. Nice. All right. I mean, that's pretty awesome. You want to start talking about some of those trends we talked about earlier? We'll take a break if we have to, but if it all fits in, it all fits in. So we were kind of talking about, it was when you and Mom were in town for the holidays, and we were talking about, and nasal strips came up.
Yeah.
And you were like, these were around before, because they're kind of trendy right now. I don't know if you've realized that they're trendy, but like I've seen them, I've used them. I use them to sleep sometimes. I've used them on the bike sometimes, especially when I'm like feeling congested. And I'm curious, like, what have you ever used them, and when did you start hearing about them? Was it like early in your racing days?
Probably about 1990, maybe,
Yep.
Early 90s. A guy I used to ride with by the name of Jeff Van Leuven was always into all the trends in cycling. And one day he came over and said, "Oh, you got to try these nasal strips. They open up your nasal passages."
Yeah.
And that was, 35 years ago.
Right. And did you try them? Didn't care for them? Yeah, you did. What did you think?
On the bike, I'm a mouth breather.
Right.
I think this hole is bigger than these two holes. I can suck a lot more air in with my mouth than I can with my nose.
Yep.
I don't know if it affects anything, but I feel more comfortable.
Yeah, well, I do think that the oxygen somehow like accesses different capillaries, or I'm no fucking doctor. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I do think that there is something to breathing in and out through your nose that like makes you access oxygen in a different way. But I mean, you're not wrong. And I think most athletes who are really pushing the pace are using their mouth to breathe. But I think, if you're trying to like utilize your mouth and your nose at the same time, which I do think is a possible thing, then it opens it up. I looked into them a little bit. I looked into some studies. They definitely can improve nasal airflow. Most people think of them as a comfort more than like a performance thing. So like if you are feeling congested, or maybe you're someone that has like a deviated septum and it's like generally hard for you to breathe through your nose, it does open you up. Now, we're talking about nasal strips, right? So if you're watching the video, they're either just the traditional ones that like paste on and they sort of pull away, or there's the ones that I have that are like a magnet. You actually put a magnet on, and then you stick the plastic thing on, and it pulls them away because the plastic piece is like rigid. So it's literally like pulling them apart. But I've recently seen nasal dilators. These are things that people put in their nostrils, and it is wider than your nasal cavity is, and so it
Yep.
like opens them up, but they have holes in them. Um, it is very trendy. I think it's like, I mean, they're kind of expensive too, you know what I mean? And so it's I found like when I'm congested, they're fine, they're good, they feel better. For me, it's more of a sleeping hack than it is a riding hack. I think it's better to sleep with your mouth closed for multiple reasons. And so
Definitely.
breathing through your nose while you're sleeping, if you can get away with it, you know, some people tape their mouths closed. That's kind of seems wild to me. I've never done that. There are companies that sell mouth tape and all that stuff.
I've seen that.
Intake breathing are the ones that I use, that like you put the sticker, you put like the magnets here and then it pulls them apart. They sell the mouth tape. I've never done the mouth tape thing. But if I'm like feeling a little bit under the weather and I have a head cold, using a nasal strip, even just a simple one, is like kind of makes the sleep a lot better. Another thing that we talked about sorry, did you have more to say about nasal strips?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
The nasal strips from the early 90s, the ones that we used, had like a metal piece in them.
Yes, that's the more common ones. Yeah.
They would stick to your nose, but the metal piece would pull
Right.
open up your airway a lot.
Right. I think those are the ones like Visma was using those a little bit during some of the grand tours. I know Jonas was wearing them during the tour. Simon Yates might have been wearing them during the Giro. He had like pink ones or whatever. Those were just like the standard. From what I've learned, those do not stay on as well when you're sweating.
Yes, because they pull. They're
Right.
pulling, and besides, the sweat is hurting the adhesion to your nose.
Exactly. So like you're really supposed to like clean properly, and then like the ones that I have, it says put them on for like 5 minutes before you attach the piece that pulls it apart. Because the
Yep.
piece that you pulls it apart essentially is the same thing, right? Like it's a rigid piece of plastic. So like it is not bending in, it's just pulling the magnets away, essentially. Yeah. Do you have any interest in using them these days? Do you think it's silly? You think it's snake oil? What do you think?
I think it's more of a gimmick to sell you something. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it's just a trend that was probably not known by a lot of young cyclists, so they're trying it out on another group
Yeah.
that they can get to purchase them.
Yeah. I still think there are a lot of like COVID babies of cycling, people who really got into cycling in the past 5 or 6 years, right? 7 years now, that are like, oh, what else can I do? What is a good hack? You know what I mean? Everyone's looking for a friggin' life hack one way or the other. And that just seems to be, and there's just companies that are selling you plastic and selling you things that you're just going to throw in the trash. And it really is not the best, but classic 2026 America. What can I do? I want to be on the podium for this gravel event that's not even a race. What can I do to be a little bit stronger at Piggy's Revenge 2026?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we're all a bunch of suckers. Speaking of suckers, I had oval chain rings at one point, and I'm curious what you think of those.
You don't have them anymore?
No, I have not had them for a year and a half.
Oh, I thought you stuck with those. What did you think of them when you had them?
Oh, I thought they were fine. I didn't, I liked them enough. I felt like from what I read, they were like, what they do, they make your pedal stroke more efficient. They shorten the part of your pedal stroke where you're not putting down power, and they elongate the part of your pedal stroke where you are putting down power. I understood that. It felt good to climb with them. My problem with them was they wore out really easier because they're isometric, because they're not circular.
Yep.
They wear out unevenly, because the way that your chain hits it, your chain is like stretch more at the long part and not stretch at the other part. So not only do they wear the teeth on your chain ring faster than a round chain ring, but they also wear there's like a little thing on the inside of your chain ring to help the shift.
Yep.
To help you like push over. Sometimes it's like just like a little bump essentially made of metal made of like a harder metal than your chain is made of, so it can help like push it over. And that would wear on me. I went through like 2 sets in like 1,000 miles. And then I talked to Ben at MVX and he was like, with the amount of riding you do, you're just going to chew through these things. And I was like, well, that's not sustainable at all for like my pocket, you know? So I did think that I thought they were fine. A lot of people would love to make fun of them. That was maybe my biggest gripe with them. People would be like, oh, you're running the oval chain rings, huh? You know what I mean? And I'd be like, you know what? Mind your own business. That was
that was another thing that was around in the late 80s, early 90s. They used to call them BioPace.
BioPace was the brand that made them at the time, right?
I think it was.
Or was that just what they were called?
BioPace.
Oh, Shimano BioPace. Okay.
I could be wrong there, but it was BioPace, and they were mostly for mountain bikes, I believe, because I had them on I think it was a rock hopper or something, a rock hopper or a stump jumper.
Yeah, they were big on mountain bikes, and then they got big in the pro peloton when Froome was winning the tour a bunch, when the Skytrain was big. What is that, like 2005, 2010, that sort of era? And then I think they got trendy after that. Like they got trendy with like, you know, amateur cyclists like us that aren't pros. And it was like, oh, what can I do? And I think a lot of people thought that they would like make your cadence really weird. They took a little bit getting used to, but I do think it was okay to like ride smoothly. But yeah, to me, they were just expensive and they weren't worth it. And like, you know, from like the research that's done, if there's any benefit, it tends to show up more in like short, punchy efforts as opposed to like long, steady riding. And apparently they're better if you're trying to like start. So I think that's why they were big in like BMX and in mountain biking, because people were using them to get a good jump on the start, you know? Because a lot of those circuits are a little bit smaller. It might be like an hour super hard effort, and that like initial, like a cross race or something, right? Like that initial first right out the gun, you want to get into position because it's harder to pass people on those sort of single track tight type of spaces. But yeah, those I feel like are back out of favor. I never see oval chain rings. Do you see any?
I have not seen any down here. I ride a 1x down here, so
right. That's another thing. That's kind of trendy.
For me, it works. I mean, I'm not a weight weenie, but it works good for me down here. I mean, I took my bike to Rhode Island this summer and rode with the 1x because I have a 48 in the front and I've got a 1036 in the back.
Right. So it gives you a pretty good ratio for climbing.
Yep.
Perfect for Florida because you're not climbing a bunch of crazy hills, at least where you are in Florida, right?
Yep.
That I feel like is a trend that is not dying anytime soon. But what about the triple chain ring? Did you ever run a road bike that had a triple chain ring?
Only when I climbed Mount Washington, I took my group set off my mountain bike.
Yeah.
Put it on my road bike.
So that you had the little baby chain ring that's like 20 teeth or whatever. Correct. And then a bigger cassette in the back.
Yes.
So you could spin.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and even then it probably wasn't a huge cassette. It's not like the 1050 cassette I have in my gravel bike. It still was probably like a 32, but
yes.
But you were spinning on a 20 in the front, essentially.
Correct.
And did you run it with the other 2 chain rings on there and you just didn't use them?
No, I had all 3 chain rings on. I don't really remember that actually, but I know I took the whole group set into, at the time, Providence Bicycle.
Yeah.
Sorry, NBX. A guy by the name of Randy was the mechanic there, and he was always very good to me, so he just changed everything over for me.
NBX wasn't even a thing then.
Okay.
Right? I don't think so. It was Casters. Matt was working at Casters.
Well, it was 2014 when I did.
Oh, okay. So maybe NBX was a thing.
Yeah, so 12 years ago.
Yeah. That's when you did Mount Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, I think we should take a quick break. I don't want to run out of time here, and we'll talk about some more trends when we come back. We'll talk about some trends that aren't coming back and some that have died very recently. So yeah, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, we are back. There were absolutely zero technical difficulties between the two segments. If you think otherwise, you're so mistaken. All right, we talked about triple chain rings a little bit. I think that's a fad that's done, right? I mean, I think that's a trend that's done. I don't see triple chain rings coming back,
Not even on
right?
mountain bikes?
No, mountain bikes are all
One
one
bike?
by.
Yeah, mountain bikes were always triple chain ring for
Well,
me.
because what's happening now is like derailleurs are so much more advanced that instead of running a cassette with 8 cogs, you have a cassette with 12 cogs.
Yep.
So there's a lot more. I mean, there's even some 13 speed out there if you're fancy and you're running campy. And I think Shimano and SRAM like have patents filed to go 13 speed sooner or later, right?
Yep.
Another trend that recently died as of this year in the pro peloton, no more tubular tires. Did you know about this?
Tubular or tubeless?
No, tubular tires,
Glue
tires that are
on.
glued onto the rim. There was a team that was running them in 2025. I don't know who, but as of this year, like all the tech that's, the new teams have all the new bikes or whatever, new sponsors for this year. No more tubular tires. They are 100% dead in the Peloton. I'm sure maybe cyclocross users still use them because you can run really low pressures and stuff. Did you
I
ever
have a
run
set.
tubulars? You
Yeah,
did.
I
Did you
bought
ever
them.
glue them on?
Yeah, Billy Rounds sold me a set of, I think they were called Ambrosias or Ambrosios or something.
Okay. Yep.
And we have a guy down here
Yep.
that still uses them, and he actually got a flat on a ride,
What do you
and
do?
he had another one with him, and he didn't have any glue, but he got it on
Yep.
and rode with it. I was always
Right.
afraid. I was always afraid they were going to roll off on a corner. Like I like to bang
Well, that's
corners.
why. Well, I think that's what happens when you don't glue them
Yeah,
because you can run them because you glue them and you can run them at such low pressure. For those of you who don't know, if you're listening and you don't know what the hell a tubular tire is, basically it's a tire with a tube built into it.
also called sew-ups.
Sew-ups, yes.
Yes.
And because it's a traditional tire, but the tube is inside of it, it's attached to it. So you literally have to roll it on. If you think putting on a Conti is hard, you have to roll this thing on so that the tube is also part of the beading process.
Correct.
And when you're doing that, first you glue the inside of the rim.
Yes.
And that shit, I'm sure it just gets everywhere. It's on your
Well,
hands.
same. I mean, I'm not tubeless anymore.
You're anti-tubeless.
No, I'm not anti-tubeless. I was just getting. I don't
You're having
know.
tubeless issues.
Yeah, I don't know what happens to the sealant down here. Maybe I wasn't adding sealant often
Yes.
enough or
Yeah,
checking
this is
it.
a great reminder to check your sealant. You got to add sealant. I got to add some more sealant to my bike. It's been a little while. It's always good to check it. Yeah.
So how do you check it? Just take about 6 inches off, or do you you mentioned sticking the little straw type thing in
Yeah,
into the
I just
stem?
add a little. I have like a reminder in my phone or I have like, in my notes app when the last time I put tubeless sealant in my bikes are. And so I just go and I remove the valve core from my tubeless stem and I pump it in with a syringe through there.
I do have the syringe, but I have um, reserve wheels with
Yeah,
the valve that I can't pull out the valve core.
Fillmore, it's called Fillmore. I'm looking at my bike right now, with my reserve wheels, and yeah, it has the Fillmore valve that like you can't take it out.
Yes, so
You
I
can't
have
put sealant in through it. You got to do the like what you were saying. You remove part of the bead essentially and pour it in like that.
correct. I put 2 tire levers on, give myself about 4 inches,
Yeah,
and just pour the sealant in.
right, with like a measuring cup or something like that, or just like from the stands bottle, whatever.
Yeah, I just do it by eye.
Yeah.
That's 3 ounces.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the disadvantage of putting in too much is like you're holding on to more weight essentially.
Yep.
I mean, you don't want to fill the whole friggin' tire with it, but like, yeah, it does make sense to check them. It really is like sort of condition dependent. It depends on how many punctures you're getting that you might not notice. There's stuff's drying out or whatever. Yeah. So are there any other trends that you can think of? Do you think tubeless is here to stay?
I think tubeless is definitely here to stay for mountain bikes and gravel bikes around here.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do run tubeless on road bikes.
Yeah.
Trends down here are huge chain rings. Like I know one guy that rides a 56.
Wow.
Chain ring in the front.
Yep.
And another
And
guy.
I mean, that makes sense for Florida, right?
Yeah, I think my buddy Nigel has a 55, but he's a grinder. He's
Low cadence type.
Super low cadence.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like a TT setup. That's like the Remco TT setup. He's running like a 58 or like a 60. It's like a legit dinner plate on the front there. Yeah.
I don't think I can turn that over.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of a higher cadence for multiple reasons. I feel like it keeps me fresher. It's like less fatigue on my muscles.
Your heart rate might be a little higher, but
yeah, exactly. But I also think it like promotes faster blood flow. It's better for like recovery and all of that. Sure, to each their own. I know everyone's different. Some people swear by a grinding cadence. It's just like what they're used to or what they're good at. I'm always trying to get my average RPMs up. And actually over the past 3 or 4 years, like they've gone from 75 average to 85 average. You know what I mean? Which for me, when I'm climbing a lot, that's pretty good, I think.
I like to look down at my head unit and see myself over 90.
Like 90 to me is great.
95, 97 even.
And yeah, absolutely.
My heart rate's only like 112 and you're cruising along at 20, 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, your legs feel fresh, all that sort of stuff.
But yeah. I don't know if you ever heard the term spin to win.
Yeah, I have. A lot of great terms in cycling like that. Spin to win, be bold, start cold. What are some other good ones?
Well, I don't know, but do you remember Jan Ullrich? Do you know that name?
Of course. Yes, of course.
Now, when Jan Ullrich was racing against Lance Armstrong.
Right, they were big rivals, right? They were
huge rivals.
Yeah.
Lance was a spinner.
Yep. And Jan was a grinder.
Grinder.
You could see it in his face, his 65 cadence. You could see it.
It looked painful.
Kind of like Pontani. I feel like Marco Pontani had a lot of like a grinding cadence up the mountain with his backwards cycling cap on. Absolute menace. High on cocaine, winning the Tour. What a monster.
Seat tube with a big angle on it.
Yes, a huge angle. Yeah, that's right. Way back, like so far back, like over the back wheel, as opposed to, I mean, I know now a lot of riders want to be like right over the bottom bracket, like
almost like a try.
Yeah, right. Like Pog is over the bottom bracket. Another trend, 3D printed saddles. What do you think about those? What do you think about 3D printed saddles?
I love mine.
Me too. Yeah. Comfortable, feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Do they do any damage to your bib shorts?
They do.
Same.
Only on one side, though. Maybe, I don't know if I'm favoring, always on my right side.
Yeah.
I've had holes in my shorts.
Yeah, when you mentioned the ride to DC, doing that ride ruined a pair of bibs for me. Like, not ruined, but like after the end of the ride, I was like, whoa, I really like, and it wasn't like a visible hole, but like the fabric was like pilling up, like it was getting like those little balls of fabric. And it was like, oh man, this is, because in a 3D printed saddle, as I look over at my bike again here, it's like, it has all the little holes in it essentially. So there's like more points for the fabric to catch or whatever. Yeah.
And where was it? Was it on the outside of the chamois or just the Lycra? Where was the hole?
No, just the Lycra on my, it's specifically on my right side on the Lycra, like where the chamois pad is, like in that sort of inside the sewing marks of where the chamois is.
Okay, mine are on the outside of the sewing marks.
Oh, gotcha. So like where there isn't a chamois.
Yeah, but right on the edge. So it must be.
It's just we all sit a little bit differently. All of our sit bones are, you know what I mean? And like, even if you're looking at, your metrics and it's telling you, you're 50% left and 50% right. Like we're not, human bodies are not symmetrical,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm always 53, 47,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm always stronger on my left because I tore my Achilles about 3 years ago on my right.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't seem like it doesn't feel like I'm putting more power on the left, but it
Right.
always comes out that my left is stronger.
Right. But you are a right-handed person. You're right foot dominant. What
Correct.
what leg do you clip out with? What leg do you unclip at the stop sign?
Unclip with my right.
You unclip with your right. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I unclip with my left.
Oh, it's so much easier to get my right in than my left. I'm much more coordinated on my right side.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I think if we rode skateboards, we'd ride differently. This is what I've been told. Like that's
Yep.
like what I do is like goofy footed, I think.
Well, in basketball, if you're a right-handed player and you
Yeah.
do a layup, you're coming off your left foot
Right.
to go to the rim.
With like a more gives you like more extension
Exactly.
essentially. Right, right. Um what are some other trends as I look at my very trendy bike here that I've only ridden twice? Drop seat stays. What do you think about drop seat stays?
Seat posts?
No, no, the seat stay, the part that's coming up
Oh, okay, the
from,
seat stay. Yep.
you know what I mean?
Not the chain stay. What do I think about them?
They're supposed to be more comfortable
They
from,
were around a while ago too.
oh, they were, and they went away and came
They
back?
went away and came back.
Oh, interesting. I did not
And
know that.
my buddy Steve that I rode with today,
Yep.
his rear triangle, his seat stay must be 6 inches below, or even more below his top
The
tube.
top tube.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is his. We're sitting at the coffee shop, and I look at his bike, and I look at mine, and I say, "Dude, look at the size of your rear triangle."
And it's an older bike or it's a new bike?
Brand new.
Oh,
He's got this guy's got too many bikes.
yeah. I mean, that makes sense, especially for these newer like aero bikes with the huge head tubes. I'm looking
Yep.
at my S5 right here. It's got a huge head tube and it's got a dropped seat stays that's probably like 5 inches below, and also my wheel goes into the seat tube.
Yes,
You
mine
know what
does
I
a
mean?
little
That's sort
bit
of
on my
like
Suburban.
recessed. On the soloist, it does as well. But the soloist has dropped seat stays.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Probably
But
only
the
4 inches.
right. And I think it's a comfortability thing, and I think it's like a stiffness thing. But like our look bikes, we both have the same style of look rim brake bikes, and those are more classic silhouette.
All the way to the top tube.
Goes all the way to the top tube. My R5 is similar, all the way to the top tube. Um, yeah. Oh, what about angled? You have angled hoods?
I haven't yet.
You
No,
haven't. They're just pretty straight.
correct. But
Yeah.
I think my bars are a little wide anyway. Like I was looking at
Yeah.
Steve's bars today. He's on, I think 38s or something. He's like super aero all the time. He's always got his.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
calls it. What does he call it? Puppy paws or something. He's always.
Oh, this is Steve Hollowell. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm very much a subscriber to that too. Even on like rides where I'm not hammering, I try to sit into that position to get used to being in that position. So that when I do want to like, ride fast, there is sort of like a muscle memory to,
Oh,
engaging your core properly, getting down there. It's not the most comfortable position, but the more you do it, the more that you're sort of, developing and getting your body used to it.
so I don't know too much about that. So could I just turn my
Yes.
brakes and hoods, my levers in?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't go dramatic. Don't do it dramatically,
Yep.
but just bring them in just a little baby bit. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
they just. Some people say that if you bring them in too much, they cause your elbows to flare out, which obviously is sort of like undoing the
The
arrowness
arrow.
of it all.
Yep.
But I think most importantly, it's about being comfortable. You know what I mean? Especially when you're talking about riders like us. As much as I like to ride hard and I like to race sometimes, like comfort is up there. That's why I'm such a big fan of the 3D printed saddle. That's why I'm such a big fan of tubeless because it allows me to run a lower pressure with the same tire. You
Yep.
know, with a tube in there, you're running a slightly higher pressure, and so it's a little bit more comfortable. There's one, basically one less piece of fabric in there, or one less piece of material. Yeah.
Another reason I went back to tubes.
Yeah.
Is I was gonna go tubeless, but I couldn't seat the tire on the rim with my floor pump.
Oh, right. You couldn't get the bead to catch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
right.
I said,
which is a challenge.
I did not want to go to the shop and get the compressed, use the.
We're gonna get you an electric mini pump. I'm getting you one.
What
electric mini pump?
The little ones, like the the size of a Zippo cigarette lighter.
Yes, great reference. The size of a Zippo cigarette lighter. Yeah, I don't have one with me, but it's like half the size of your phone or whatever. It's like, and it can probably fill 2 or 3, maybe 4 tires. Adam and I are going to do a video kind of soon to see like which ones can pump the most tires the quickest, or like, what the charge is. Because Trek has a great one that I now have 2 of. I keep one in both of my saddlebags, but there's so many that are coming out. Toe Peak has one. Some other off-name brands that I haven't heard of have them. They're very much, speaking of trends, they're super trendy right now. And CO2 is wasteful as hell, and not always perfect. Like CO2 and tubeless doesn't always work, because the cold air
affecting
your sealant. And so if you're, maybe you're like, oh, what's going on here? My sealant is like really dried up. Well, CO2 is super dry, So to put that air inside your tire with sealant is very different than putting air from a floor pump, because that's just taking air from the environment, right? It's just recirculating it into the tire. Whereas CO2, we've both grabbed CO2s without gloves on or something, and it's cold as hell. Freezing.
Last time I got a flat with tubeless.
Yeah.
I kept filling it with CO2 on the way home, just a little bit.
Yeah.
To get home.
Because you didn't put a tire in it. You were just topping it off, riding a little bit, topping it off. Right.
But when I got home and took the tire off, I had a blob about the size of a quarter inside the tire with no sealant left.
Right. It was all coagulated, all dried up. It all caught together. I wonder if the CO2 has something to do with that.
We had 6 flats on our ride the other day.
Right. Sunday, you were telling me.
It was a wet day. And one of the guys had one of those
electric mini pumps. Yeah.
So he was having trouble with it. I don't think he really knows how to use it. So somebody said, here's a CO2. And the guy, and it was very humid here. The guy, he didn't put one of those little sleeves on the cartridge.
Right, because sometimes they come with that like protective thing to put on. Yeah.
So one guy said, oh, that's great to put on your neck when you're done, because it'll cool you off. And I said, dude, that's going to stick to your.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
your skin. You got to rip the skin off.
Dumb and Dumber, when he licks the thing and his tongue gets stuck.
So he had it in his hand, and like it was stuck to his hand. I said, imagine if you put that on your neck.
Yeah, I've had that stick to my hand before. It's like, I'm like, oh, real quick, I'll be fine. I'm not putting gloves on or whatever.
You got to pour water on it.
It's bad.
The tongue,
it's bad. Yeah. Is there anything, speaking of trends, is there anything that you think, like you see newer riders, right? You've been riding bikes for my whole life, Yep. Are there anything that you can think of that you think newer riders overthink? Like, do you think, like when you hear me talking about trendy stuff, or you're like, oh my God, these fucking kids these days, is there anything that makes you think about that?
Well, Steve Hollowell's always on a program.
Like a training program?
Yeah, got to start my program.
Okay.
Start a program February 1st. I just finished my last program.
Yeah. Like it's always like a 6-week or an 8-week thing that he's like sort of cycling through.
Yeah. And then he'll, like, one day's 4 hours at zone 2, the next day intervals.
Right.
I'm 65, man. I don't need to do all that.
Hey, the King Sean Kelly has always said, just ride your fucking bike.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like, I understand that like training programs, especially if you're, you're going after a certain date, you know what I mean? You have like this big race coming up.
Yep.
Obviously Pog is on a training program, right?
Definitely.
And I subscribe to it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like point fingers here. I'm someone that is like trying to balance my workload, trying to balance, so that I can continue to ride more often without being like burnt out or without being too tired. But when it comes down to it, we're just everyday people, you know what I mean? And
Exactly.
like just riding is the most important thing, is just getting out there and riding your bike, and doing slightly different things. Why? What's mom doing? You see mom walk by?
Yeah, she just got back from pickleball. She's saying, pull your shirt down so they can see it. But you can't see it anyway because the way I'm
No,
sitting.
can't really see it. Thanks though. Um, is that the biggest thing? Do you think people are like overthink like the just getting out on your bike? You know?
I think it's um I think it's better for guys that don't get to ride often, like to have a training program.
Yes, right. Like if you're someone that works a traditional full-time job, 40 hours a week, you only have 6 hours a week to ride your bike, whatever, you know what I mean? You got kids or whatever.
Yep,
It's like, okay, I'm going to do 1 hour of endurance. And then the next day I'm going to do 1 hour of tempo. And
yep.
the next day I'm going to do 45 minutes recovery or whatever that is, like I think you're right for people who that structure works for them. It's probably a lot more beneficial,
I think it would.
especially yeah. No, I
Think
was
it
just
would.
going to say, especially this time of year with like riding on the trainer. I can't ride on the trainer for 3 hours, you know? And so I want to make the most of the time.
Yep. Well,
Yeah. Sorry. What were you going to say?
He's a pilot, so
Yeah.
he has a funky schedule. He'll be
Right.
like, I was talking to him today. I think he's flying the next 6 days.
Right. So the
But
riding time is limited, if not zero.
he might catch something in a gym somewhere. He
Right.
doesn't take his bike with him.
Right. Okay. A couple more things. Do you have any, someone's new to cycling? Let's say they're only 2 years in, you know what I mean? I still think that's relatively new. Do you have any advice for someone who's new to cycling that wants to keep up with it?
We have two young guys riding with us now, a kid
Yeah.
by the name of Alex and a kid by the name of Logan. They haven't been riding long, but they're very, very strong.
Yeah.
My advice to Alex would be stop looking back.
Oh, yes. You hate
Do
when people
not
look
look
back.
back. Just you look back, something happens in front of you, the guy behind you, and four other guys are going down.
Yeah, it can be dangerous to look back. Some people are better at handling their bikes than others, but that comes with time.
Yes.
So yeah, good. I think that's good advice. Yeah.
And the new guys have to learn not to stand up in front of you without letting you know. Like they don't
Yes, that's a
realize
good
that.
point. I think that's a better point than the looking back. That's one thing that you taught me very early on, to signal when you're about to stand up. Not only do I think that's important, but I think it's also important to learn how to not slip back when you do stand up. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's very easy to do.
Yes, as long as you're thinking about it, you know what I mean? You're like, okay, I'm going to stand up, but when I stand up, it's while I'm coming over the top. And so when I stand up, I'm putting that extra little bit of whoop, so I keep staying forward. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because
But you're right. I mean, some people don't know about that. And for those of you who don't know what we mean, the best way to signal to do that is to flick both of your elbows.
Yep.
Um, and I remember very vividly, rest in peace, Aaron Davis, great rider, great guy. For one of the first times I was riding with him, he came to an IJAH group ride, and Brian and I both like flicked our elbows, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys know that like you have this weird tick when you stand up, you flick your elbows before?" I'm like, "It's not a tick, my man. It's like an on purpose thing," which to me kind of blew my mind. Like, as such a seasoned rider that like rode his bike a ton, raced his bike a ton. He was a
Yes.
strong guy, a smart guy. He didn't know about that. And that's just one of those things that like if you don't know, you don't know. But I mean, signaling on a group ride is of the
Huge.
utmost importance.
We use the double arm flick for two things here in Florida.
Okay. Same. I
We
use a double arm flick for something else too.
we use it for standing up, and I'll stand up in the pace line, do the
Yep.
double arm flick, and the guy behind me won't even have to back off a little bit because I
Right.
do that stand up and put the pressure on my
And
right
push.
and
Right.
push. But another thing is um, a bumpy area.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it for speed bumps too. Or like
That's
like a little, you know what I
a
mean?
dip in the road, something to that effect. We
Right.
ride
Right.
basically the same routes a lot.
Right.
So we know where they do a lot of drainage work around here. So they'll put
Sure.
a drain across the road, then it'll sink in a little bit.
Right. It dips down. Right.
So we come to that, we boom, boom. It'll be like two little bump, bump to let the person know, hey, we're going to come to something.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like a frost heave. You know what I mean? Like if I'm seeing a frost heave that isn't necessarily signed because it's different than like a speed bump, even though it kind of acts the same way, or like a big dip in the road, I'm like giving the elbows, and then I'm probably taking my butt off the saddle a little bit too. You know what I mean? Because it just helps you stay a little bit more smooth, a little bit more balanced.
Well, some guys down here used to go like this with their thumb when they were going to stand up, or put their hand back and go like this to tell the guy.
Okay. Like stay off my wheel.
Yeah, stay off my wheel. But that takes your hand off the bar.
Yes, which can be dicey.
Exactly.
Depending on who you are as a rider.
I like the.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys do the elbow flick when you want somebody to pull through?
Oh, absolutely.
Rather, you know what they do down here a lot, and I try to teach people don't do it. They'll take their hand and they'll tap their ass.
No, to me, that's reserved for walker up or runner up.
Exactly. And they're doing it. They'll do that and then they'll pull off.
No, like if I'm riding on the front of a pace line, if I'm riding in a group ride and I'm riding on the front and I'm done on the front, I flick my right elbow, I pull off to the left.
Yep.
Because the right elbow is telling them to come through.
Correct.
Hey, you're coming through on my right-hand side. I'm dipping off to the left. On the rare occasion when I go the other side, I'm flipping it, but that's super rare. I hardly ever go into the gutter. It just, to me, it doesn't really make as much sense. You don't have as much room. I understand that if there are cars coming, it's hard, but
we do it if the wind is really hitting us from the right-hand side.
Because you're doing like echelons.
Correct.
So right. Some people don't even know what that is, right? An echelon is essentially, it's a pace line, but it's a pace line in a crosswind.
Yes.
So that you're sitting not only behind a rider, but to their left if the wind is coming from the right.
Correct.
Yes, and some people don't realize that. I see people riding hard in pace lines, and they're like trying to hold on to a wheel so bad, but the wind is coming from the right. And it's like, hey, if you were over to the left a little bit,
you'd still get the draft.
Yeah, you'd still get the draft because the wind is still coming from the front because you're moving forward, right? There's that wind, the wind of moving, but then there's also the environmental wind, which is like, can be pretty strong, especially in Florida where it's flat. A lot of people are using deep dish wheels. They're blowing you around a little bit. I was blown around a little bit today. It was a lot windier than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? And I don't have the deepest wheels by any means, but it catches you. And, I was riding alone, so it wasn't like I was hiding behind anyone, but yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I know we've had the podcast before where we talked about like group ride etiquette and stuff, but I really don't think that stuff can be repeated enough. People are new to it or whatever,
Well, there's this one guy, you might know the name, Mike Frenette. He
used to work with him.
No, right? No, he's
oh, that's another guy. Oh, yes, no, I know. Yes, sorry.
He's very good at echeloning.
Yeah.
And in a group, he will even tell people, like, say we have a 4-foot bike lane.
Yeah.
If the guy's on the front and the wind's coming from his right, he'll tell the guy,
get all the way over.
Move over. Like, give the guy behind you something to work with.
Yeah. That's why crosswinds are so much fun to watch in pro cycling.
Yeah, don't be riding that white line when everybody behind you is getting battered.
Right.
Yeah. Watching a pro peloton and a crosswind the way if there's not enough room,
it breaks up
20 guys, it breaks up the group.
Yeah, right. Because you're riding in a group of 50 people, and the wind comes hard, and then you only have enough room to echelon with 12 guys. So the 13th guy needs to start a new echelon because otherwise they're riding in the grass or they're riding on the sidewalk or whatever. I mean, say what you will about some of those like early season races like Tour of Dubai or the Saudi Tour or whatever. I mean, fuck those governments. But the riding out there because of the wild crosswinds is like super exciting. I think that stuff is super exciting. Yeah. Very, very fun to watch. Very strategic. There's a lot of nuances in cycling, especially pro cycling, that I don't think people realize. They just think it's like, oh, who can get, to the end the fastest. But no, there's so much strategy involved. And I'm really, the the Tour Down Under starts in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Is Qatar already gone? Is Qatar
No, no,
already?
no, no. I think Santos Tour Down Under is first, and then they go to the Middle East and they do Qatar, Dubai, and the
Yeah.
Saudi tour. Um, yeah. What do you got? Any big things you're looking forward to this year in pro cycling?
Uh, no, I watch them all. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
watching.
you been
Uh,
watching cross?
yeah. Wow. Did you see that race with the snow?
Yeah, I mean the race with the snow was wild, but he hurt his knee. Well, we
I
thought he hurt his knee, but
broke
he
his
ended up
ankle, didn't
breaking
he?
his ankle.
Yeah.
Yes, because everyone's worried about the knee that he hurt in the Vuelta
Yeah.
24.
Yep.
Really fucked up his knee really bad. But yeah, now everyone is. I mean, Vanderpool. As much as I'm not a fan of him, he's unbelievable. He is unbelievable.
Power through the sand.
The way he powers through that sand. He was powering through the snow. The way he pedals, he can get over any obstacle on a drop bar bike. It is wild. Yeah,
And he's
he
a
blows me
bigger
away.
cyclist.
Oh, he's a tall dude. Yeah,
And he still has great bike handling skills. Usually,
great.
the taller the
Yeah,
guy, you're a
yeah.
little higher
And he
up.
runs that seat post all the way up. His
Yeah.
feet are like pointed down. Like he's the opposite of a heel dropper. He's a real toe pointer.
Yes.
And he is so smooth over everything. Yeah, he's unreal. I think this cyclocross season paired with like the last one and the one before, I mean, he's absolutely up there as like one of the greats in that
Dominating.
discipline. Yeah,
Dominating.
he's absolutely dominating. He's running away with that World Cup. So yeah. And then real quick before we go, did you hear about Simon Yates?
I did. When you mentioned him earlier, I was going to say, did you hear he retired? Another guy just retired too. Another
Like out of the blue?
yeah, 27-year-old guy said he just lost his desire for it.
Wow, interesting. I know that's happened recently. There's a lot of pressure on pro riders and
Yeah.
they got to look out for their mental health. Like famously Tom Dumoulin, who was
Yeah.
on Visma, he took like a year off. He came back. But yeah, Simon Yates, he was at the Giro presentation. He was, part of the new kit reveal for Visma. And then on like Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, I think he was like, I'm retiring effective immediately. And apparently he said he didn't have the spirit to
Yeah.
continue at that level.
That's what the team director said.
Right. Because he actually didn't say much about it. He just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm retiring. Thank you to all my teammates." And then yeah, the sporting director kind of was just like, he said didn't have the spirit anymore. That's all I'll say about it.
Well, it's got to be family too. I mean, the time it takes
Sure.
to stay in shape. If you have kids, you can't.
Absolutely. And that win at the Giro last year, I mean, what a great way to go out. Like, he lost the Giro all those years ago, like on that same climb, and then came
Yep.
back and beats Del Toro. They're looking at each other in the peloton, and he's riding away, and right. And like, I think that was awesome. It was kind of startling to see him say like, "Hey, I'm done," just like that.
Yeah.
Especially like just finishing winter camp with the team. But
I know.
I think he's an absolute legend. I love watching him and his brother race together. There's that great clip of them in the tour from a few years ago where like they're both like riding the same exact way, like on each other's wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super fun. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to all pro cycling. I mean, I hope Pog doesn't win every single race by 10 minutes, but at the same time, I can't really complain about, watching the best ever to do it,
Yeah.
So
You think he's the best ever?
yes, but I never really watched Eddie Merckx, so it's hard for me to say. Um, I think that he probably could win a few more races to really solidify that he's the best ever. But
You
yeah, what do
talking
you?
stage races or one-day classics?
I think he's the best GC rider of all time, 100%. I think
do
it's hard
too.
to say that he's the best overall because of because of all the classics. And I mean, hey, if he wins Milan San Remo and he wins Paris Roubaix, then I'll give it to him. But those are the two white whale races.
Have you read anything about him concentrating on the classics this year? Spring classics?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, which I think that's great. I'd love to
too.
see that. I'd be okay if he says, "Fuck this, I don't want to do the tour anymore." You know what I mean? Let him do whatever he wants. I think that's one of the good things about this. Like, hey, we're going to step away. We need our mental health. we are going to run out of time here in just a second. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It was a good chat, and I don't want this to just abruptly end on us, but
Okay.
yeah, I do think Pog is great, and I love to watch him. And
I think he's also one of the most humble cyclists out there.
yeah, he's fun. You know,
He is. He's fun. Handing kids water bottles, laughing.
Yeah, I like him.
We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.